Resident Evil Code Veronica on Sega Dreamcast, or as I like to call it, Resident Evil 3. In fact, Code Veronica had been described early on as a true follow-up to Resident Evil 2, but due to contractual obligations to Sony at the time of its development, Capcom restricted numbered releases to PlayStation. That ideology went out the window once Capcom decided to hop in bed with Nintendo, creating Resident Evil 4 in 2005 as a GameCube exclusive, which didn't last long either. Code Veronica was a big deal for many reasons. It was the first game in the series to debut on a console other than PlayStation, and it ditched the pre-rendered backgrounds found in previous installments, opting for real-time 3D environments. I know Resident Evil Survivor was released prior to Code Veronica, adopting a first-person perspective as well as 3D environments, though it doesn't count. Survivor is a spin-off and has no place in the main canon, first of all. Second, it's kind of boring. There were some cool ideas, the story is intriguing, and the Japanese version made use of Namco's GunCon, a feature that didn't find its way west, I'm sad to say. In the end, this experiment in evil suffered. It's like Capcom wanted to make a rail shooter that wasn't a rail shooter, if that makes any sense. You move around as if you're in a first-person shooter, yet firing a weapon's classic Resident Evil, meaning you have to stop dead in your tracks, aim, then fire. The advantage is that the player can set their sights on arms, legs, etc. It sounds neat, but doesn't work well, not with a controller at least. Using a D-pad, aiming is slow and imprecise. This is a serious problem since all of your enemies move. Looks like fun, right? Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. Back to Veronica. It picks up 3 months after Resident Evil 2. Players are graced with a John Woo-like cutscene where Claire Redfield evades Umbrella's security force.
Don't move.
After an exhilarating chase, Claire is captured and imprisoned on a remote island that doubles as a base of operations for the diabolical Umbrella Corporation. Our fearless heroine is knocked unconscious upon arrival, awakening hours later to the familiar cries of chaos. In other words, the base is attacked. Sorry, the melodrama's rubbing off. Anyway, the guard takes pity on the poor girl and releases her. From this moment forward, it's anarchy. Code Veronica was unlike any other Evil in regards to visuals. Character models rendered in real time that could project emotion beyond simple body language. Fans hadn't seen this level of sophistication outside of those wicked cutscenes. They're commonplace now, but they were astounding then. The overall presentation is, I dare say, a perfect marriage of Evil cinematic style and 3D. Instead of those static 2D images of yesterday, the world now lives and breathes in 3D with dynamic lighting effects and a semi-fixed camera. It still looks like a movie cutting from one angle to the next, but the camera is now free to track and or follow the player as they sift through the detritus. Really, I feel Code Veronica was the last game in the main series that actually felt like Resident Evil. As much as I enjoy Evils 4 and 5, they're more like action games with some horror elements when it should be the other way around. So the game spread across 2 GD-ROMs, playing as Claire through the first half and Chris for the second. Yeah, it's one scenario with one ending, but Veronica's narrative is way more involved while the game itself is twice as long as the original. If I have any grievances this time, it's the backtracking. This has been a staple of the franchise, though it rarely bothers me. With Code Veronica, I feel it's gone too far. There are 2 main locations here, Rockford Island and the Antarctic base. By the time you get to the Antarctic, you'll be able to draw a map of the island in your sleep. Once Claire's game comes to a dramatic end, you pick up as Chris and it's right back to the island. Yes, you get to explore this ball of sand all over again. Chris has access to different rooms now, but much of it is the same. Revisiting the Arctic isn't so bad, for there's a section that calls back to the original in a big way, and it's eerie. I mean, just look at it. The mansion is iconic, so this little reveal packs a serious punch for me. After having played the first 3 games back to back to back, it just feels like home again. Weird, right? As always, there's a supporting character, Steve Burnside. There's some mixed emotions here. While his voice is positively grating, the character is shockingly well developed, and he's easily the most helpful companion I've had since Barry. Fans often poke fun at the dialogue and his Canadian accent.
Relax, beautiful. I said I was sorry. My name's Steve.
Personally, I'll take Steve over Carlos any day of the week.
It drives him crazy.
If there's one character I can do without, it's Alfred.
You don't fool me! I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Yeah, that shrill fop is one of our main villains. Really? This twat waffle couldn't intimidate a 5-year-old into giving up their lunch money, let alone a red field.
Have it your way, then. You're just a rat in a cage anyway.
No wonder I don't like him. It's Billy Corgan.
Welcome, Claire.
At least he's interesting, I'll give him that. The gameplay hasn't changed much. It's all about those keys, crests, paintings, and doorknobs. Oh, if you think that's silly, how about a cannonball made of glass that must be smashed by a motion-sensing weight? Yeah, one misstep and you're dead. It's been a while since a puzzle could be a legitimate threat. I like it. Then we have the zombies. Code Veronica has them all, folks. The hunters have an encore, as well as the spiders. There are new threats, like the Bandersnatch. I'm not even kidding. It may very well be the most irritating threat here, since these elastic vagina goblins have long-range attacks. It's usually a slap upside the head, but every now and then, they'll go for your dome and hold tight. Second to that are the moths. You may think they're no more troublesome than crows. Instead, they're even worse. These cockstains not only sprinkle poison dust everywhere, but they can latch onto your back and impregnate you with a parasite that won't let go until way later. One way or another, you're getting poisoned. Killing them is your best bet, but they respawn. If you dare backtrack, they will be waiting for you. I hate them. That's okay, I know how to work out my frustrations. Yeah, dual pistols. These are badass. There are 2 pairs available in the main game, the semi-automatic pistols and the submachine guns. You can concentrate your fire on a single target or lock onto multiple targets at once. If that doesn't stroke your barrel, nothing will. Really, I'm thinking the developers were big fans of John Woo. That's awesome. Additions found in previous games like gun parts or stage hazards are all here. The silly ammo mixer from Resident Evil 3 is absent, thankfully, though you can mix some gunpowder with arrows, making explosive rounds for the crossbow. That's more like it. Controls are solid, as always, similar to Resident Evil 3, but the dodge mechanic's long gone. Also, you have to press the action button to go up and down stairs again. Weird. Anyway, if you didn't like tank controls before, you won't like them now. Still, they've worked for me since 1996, so no complaints here. There are bonus features to unlock. I haven't earned the rocket launcher, so I can't show any of that. Fear not, I unlocked the battle game. Beat the main game any which way you can, and you'll be able to charge through an arcade-style shooter with infinite ammo. It may not sound like much of a challenge, but it has more to do with beating your time. It's still a fun game, and the best part is you can play as Claire, Chris, Steve, and Wesker. It even has a first-person view, which is pretty cool. Compared to Resident Evil 2, this is a light load in terms of bonus content. Aside from the sweet visuals, great gameplay, and its action-packed narrative, the lack of bonus features keep Code Veronica from surpassing Resident Evil 2. Regardless, Resident Evil Code Veronica is awesome. Before I wrap things up here, I want to talk about the ending. I fucking hate it. Not because it's bad, in fact, it's epic, and it sets up the next game with gusto.
Chris, promise me. Please promise that you won't leave me alone again.
I'm sorry, Claire. But it's not over yet. There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
This ending left me thinking, holy shit, finally we're gonna see Umbrella fall. Chris, Claire, Jill, and Leon are going to corporate headquarters only to find that Wesker beat him to the punch, bringing the whole Umbrella narrative to a close while setting up a new threat. It will be glorious. Instead, this happened.
The whole affair gone public. The United States government issued an indefinite suspension of business decree to Umbrella. Soon its stock prices crashed, and for all intents and purposes, Umbrella was finished.
Really? Due to plummeting stock prices, Umbrella is wiped out in a goddamn narration? Are you fucking kidding me? You flushed 4 games worth of storytelling down the shitter because you got bored? Think about it for a moment. What if you had gone to see Return of the Jedi? And in the opening crawl, it says, due to lack of support from the Senate, the Empire was crushed, and the entire movie was just about rescuing Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. You'd be fucking pissed. Those first 4 games, yeah, even Nemesis, were pure evil. Horror that was campy, creepy, and compelling. Creative brain teasers that left you feeling accomplished. Gory, over-the-top displays of monster carnage. These elements defined survival horror for me in 1996. I'm sad to say I haven't seen it again since Code Veronica. This is where the series ended for me, as well as many fans I've come to find. If you have a Dreamcast, Code Veronica is essential, so turn out the lights, crank up the volume, load your controller, and embrace the fear.